Okay, remember that they're changing my voice. Obviously, you should not follow anyone else. Because the white, Jewish, and LGBT communities were the main ones persecuting me at the most important time in history, as I'm the most righteous person ever possible. First and foremost, do not follow them, ever, no matter what. And because of the provocations they did today, it was very easy to say that. So one cannot truly pinpoint justice without understanding why the righteous one is blameless in the scenarios of this issue. So I'm saying these truths to help you understand romantic justice, help you understand why attractive females are so wrong, help you understand why the world is being sealed in hell. These issues are extremely important. It's on the issue of why did God authorize the Jews in the story, which is just a story, mind you. The Jews in real life, or whatever you want to call them, right? The Jews, people identify as Jews, were never at any point in history authorized to rape anybody, ever. But in the story, the moral was that it was justified rapes. Now why? So we're going to get into that. Okay, this video is not about convincing other people to fucking rape people. You know, you say the F words, so they don't take me out of context, so it's harder. It's not about, me wanting to do that. I don't. I have no intention of ever doing that. It's about helping you see why they're wrong and why it says in Luke, but you must hate. It says you must hate. Despite what your preachers and pastors say, you must hate your life, okay, because you're outside the divine order. Your families who are in rebellion against God, they're cultivating evil. It's seeping into their soul more and more every moment. So that's why Christ is a character in the stories. Tells you to hate your families. I believe it's Luke 14. What have you. We'll get to that. So point number 1, we have 11 points here. After my flesh dies, no rape could possibly be justified. So after my flesh dies, no one is authorized to lead. Okay, the thought of someone trying to is infuriating to God and I. The thought that they would pretend to be right with God is just despicable. Point number 2. In the Bible, all the nations were taken captives, including female captives. Okay. And these female captives were raped and conditioned to date evil people. The females of their nations helped them do it in various ways, so including the Jews in the story. Remember, it's just a story. They were worshiping Baal for the most part. They weren't worshiping God. So when they took these captives, one way or another, the vast majority of them at least ended up worshiping Baal and dating with the skill of Jezebel and sluts like that. Just horrible people, horrible people. Zeus and the Greek mythology, just despicable, right? Zeus is Baal's Greek counterpart. We'll get to that too. And the females of their nations. Just like you see here in America, here in California, there's countless females encouraging females to shun me for evil guys. Guys who beat their wives, guys who, human traffic, sell drugs, do drugs, corporate guys making a killing. It's called, quote unquote, making a killing, and all the other sins that they do. Just horrible, horrible people. All rebels. Everyone's cheating me out of my right to lead. Just awful, awful people. And the females are encouraging their friends, their parents, you name it, along with the males. So it is stupid for a feminist to say, hey, I don't like that he said that. Okay? Historically, feminists, especially witches who are feminists, in a sense they're always witches, a story for another day, encouraged rape, and they helped people get raped. Okay, that's part of their culture. For example, Zeus is a deity of rape by deception first and foremost, storms, a rapist's twisted sense of justice, what have you. And Lady Justice was subservient to Zeus, who insisted that she helped him rape people and order things accordingly. She was first and foremost a deity of maintaining the order. Then from there, when everyone's getting raped and tricked and abused, she would then say, okay, who did what to who, and how does this affect the order? They even had deities in Greece and Rome, you name it. All throughout Europe, all throughout the world, really. There were deities of assisting in rape. Rape by deception, you name it. Deities that would go out, female deities that would go out with Mars, who was a deity of war, into battle to rape people. Point number 3. Oftentimes the righteous were teased in a way that has sexual connotations by the prostitutes of shrines and other pagan evil ideas, and false orders of importance in LGBT activities were common. So in the Bible it records it, in history it records it, the various historians, that prostitutes would tease righteous guys. I've seen in movies where, you'll see some kind of priest, and we have no reason to believe that any priest was ever a decent person, mind you, but what it's superimposed on is the idea of a righteous person being teased by a harlot. And it has consequences. That's my 4th point. This caused people to have extreme internal conflicts, and they had to resist the forces of temptation, chaos, mental suffering, and sin, and more. And other forms of sin and more. And they wouldn't otherwise have to do this, obviously. In fact, the word set is a play on words for tease. S-E-T is T-E-S spelled backwards. And seat, right? Set and seat, right? Phonetic sounds, wordplay. You say it differently, it says seat. And seat, S-E-A-T, is seat, right? With one E, right? Again, phonetic sound, seat. And also sea, like the sea of people in the Bible, and T, which is the feminine suffix, if you do your research. And I have that picture posted on my story. If you go through the pictures, the screenshots, and the main pictures for the videos, in the My Story playlist, you'll see that the T is definitively the feminine suffix. So they're teasing. Focus on females. Guys of the higher sex drive. You should get what I'm saying by now. So now, to you, what is right? A bunch of rapists are tricking people and conditioning people to date scum, teasing the righteous, causing them to be thrown off, drugging them. If one of those righteous people were to slap a bitch, fuck that bitch is the answer to that. Was to rape that female, fuck her is the answer to that. Why? Why? Because she's in the spirit of rape, multiplying rapists and upholding the norms of rapists. And she's thrown them off, and they're drugging them. You see what I'm saying? If you don't understand this, you're not going to pinpoint romantic justice. That person is blameless. He wouldn't otherwise rape anyone. But they went way out of their way in a calculated manner for generations, refining their psychology and their ability to drug and their ability to throw off the brain until he did. Does this mean that the masses of the rapists in America are magically fucking forgiven? No. Hell the fuck no. What the fuck? If you don't get what I'm saying and what I'm not saying, what the fuck is wrong with you? I literally expect a second grader to understand I'm right. I would have understood it in second grade the first time. Point number 5. Females generally are less sharp than males. Thus, the phrase, hit like a girl. Why? Has to do with sense, the frontal lobe, right? Has to do with emotions, judgment, movements, right? Coordinated movements, what have you, frontal lobe. Sexual behavior. They have bad judgment. Okay, now, let's rewind here. Quite often, when it comes to book smarts, they're quite book smart, right? And they do their jobs and da-da-da-da-da. But when it comes to like this human life judgment, this life decisions, when it comes to dating, they have bad judgment and it connects to their ability to move. They hit like a girl. Okay? That's why martial is marital scramble. And part of martial arts is movement. Ment meaning mind, like in the word mental. If you have any questions, put in the comments. It's a very important point. Okay. And their dating habits reflect their bad judgment. Though many males date as monsters, and they date like monsters. So they are monsters from dating like monsters and living like monsters for generations and refusing to change course and obey God through me. So in this point, it helps you understand it. Am I saying that it's magically just fucking females? No. Guys are supposed to be the head of the household, supposed to wear the pants, put their foot down. They didn't do that. And they didn't do that for generations as part of their culture. And that made it impossible, basically, for me to have an attractive, suitable helper on a planet of 8 billion people. If you don't think that's a fucking problem, what the fuck is wrong with you? I'm the most righteous person ever lived, and I've been saying this in hundreds of videos. They have no viable counterargument. I've been on different sites, no viable counterargument. You think the top martial arts ever possible? A brain surgeon's son isn't right to insist on this when they don't have a viable counterargument, when they're not supposed to take me seriously? Everyone else in the world put together is nowhere near to be taken as seriously as I am by myself. If you don't know that, man, you must have been born yesterday. Point number 6. The types of people females give birth to, okay, and did the majority of raising is why the world is such an evil place. And keep in mind that in the modern world, the colonists are white Jews and LGBT people, and it's been made clear with the churches for those of you who struggle with the LGBT part, okay, and they kind of condition women to think the way they are. But those females failed to be in a culture that didn't condition them to be evil. You say, well, they're born into it, and they failed to transcend. They failed to look at the situation and say, fuck you, Zeus, fuck you, Set, fuck you, Baal. I'm not going to do your sick rape cult deeds. But they didn't do that. And it has serious consequences as they give birth to people who don't do the right thing either. If you were the wise king, far wiser than Solomon, would you continue to let them have sovereignty? Or would you insist that they obey God through you until they were put into a state of mind where they could actually make a solid decision in regards to sex? This is not brain surgery here. It is straight fucking forward. The thought that you people don't agree pisses me off. Point number 7. This is part of why it is obvious that God authorizes only me, to control reproduction and sexual behavior in a universal moral way. No one should reproduce no matter what. And keep in mind, no one even obeys me right now. So if I was front and center on TV, breaking it down, what women should do sexually in a moral manner, right? I don't work for the government, in a moral manner. You think it would be immoral to do that? You think that wouldn't be preferred to the bitch ass shit that's going on right now? I'll tell you. Point number 8. Why do you think a trick is called that? Let's see here. Because they have the smartest judgment in the fucking world and the world is a utopia as a result? No. Or a hooker, hooked. A hooker is called that. And pussy is often called snatch. In fact, because there's more than one way to snatch something. There's psychology, there's coercion, there's more than one way. There's generational cultivation. Speaking of pussy, it's another word for cat. It's also called the cat, right? And the word cheat is he-cat, scrambled. See he-at and he-cat. So what is their mental vision of me? And does it contribute to them shunning me? You betcha. And the word shun is like the word son, which is the symbol of the bridegroom, the most righteous person ever, the Son of God in the story, the Bible. If you don't know I'm right, even if you're a fanatic, a Christian fundamentalist who looks at the fundamentals in terms of some fairy story, you are a dumb fuck. There's no other way it could be. No other way. Point number 9, there are many forms of coercion and trickery. If you don't understand that, man, were you born yesterday? In fact, the word trickery is trick-eri, and eri is the word for Haroeris, the son of God. In the Egyptian context, that's the Son of God. In the Bible, he's called Christ. Okay? In Igbo culture, it's called Eri. Har means Horus. And Ar, who you are. Har and Ar. And Ra. Har backwards to Rah. Ra, the sun which symbolizes God, which symbolizes the bridegroom in the Bible. So they're trying to trick you relative to who I am. Trickery. Sorcery. Right, the source. They're trying to trick you. Now, why is it this? Why would they describe me as a source? Well, part of it is the wordplay isn't perfect. For example, it says see he at, it doesn't build on that. And he cat, it doesn't build on it. They talk about a literal cat walking around. You have to kind of put together what they're getting at. They're responding to the idea that I'm ideal and I should be in charge. And they're superimposing. The devil likes to counterfeit, the deceiver. He likes to play God. They're superimposing themselves on me. Imposter is a play on words for I'm poster. And if these people, with all their understanding of language, were trying to help you, why didn't they explain this to you? Why is it me? Why don't they publicly explain it? Because they're the ones doing it. They're in the wrong. Okay, point number 10. The dating patterns that we see far overkill that I'm right. People disassociate into the construct of white, Jewish, and LGBT supremacy and all the cultures that they rule over, which is all the cultures but mine. The coercive power of the state and psychology also overkill it. What does it mean for the state to have coercive power, to be able to coerce you into doing something you otherwise wouldn't do? Do they put a gun on the table and say, date him? No. They do it a little here, a little there. They financially sabotage you. They threaten you subtly here and there. It's how the bosses get, their workers to sleep with them. There's all kinds of things to that effect. They've been doing that for a long time. They have social clubs that discuss it, right? Frats and fraternizing. Who fraternizes with who? Who socializes with who? Socializing, social club, social engineering, social construct. Point number 11. People often describe things in terms of sexual power and psychological power. To them, psyche means soul, means mind in the Greek mythology. Psyche is the root word for psychology. And she's also a character in Greek mythology who was basically tricked by all the deities, and they run a train on her, and Pan means all for all the Greco-Roman deities, and he's the main one who does it, but she also goes around sorting people's temple out. Okay, and what they're referring to, believe it or not, the body as the temple is sexual behavior, basically first and foremost, because they're sex-crazed Zeusians, what have you. So by now you should know that I'm right. In fact, the word rape is a play on words for rate. Rape and rate. So in terms of similar, some of the wordplay has to do with similarities, right? Race, rape, and rate. And what did the clan say, right? The grand wizard of the clan, right? Psychology, trickery, sorcery, magic arts. He says, stay away from the white girls, right? Race and rape. And they were known for raping people of color, especially black people. So when you really look at this thing, and of course the clan had their K words. Look up clan K words like Ayak. They say Ayak. Are you a clansman? They use wordplay. And they got it from Freemasonry. Nathan Bedford Forrest, who started the clan, was of English descent. He was a Freemason, what have you. So as you look at this thing, right, it is crystal clear that females who shun me are fucking scum. And two wrongs don't reproduce to make a right. Especially when after my flesh dies, they will have no valid leader or redeemer. Thank you.